Welcome to the Mama's Fit YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing my 13-week postpartum workout video where my baby is going to be here with me. And so I want to show you how I am managing my workouts with a little one and also how I'm keeping my space safe for her in addition for my older children, because I do have 4 kids total. I have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And so I want to share how we make our gym space safe for all of our kiddos. Hey, my name is Gina. I'm a perinatal finisher and birth doula and now mama of 4. So Miss Zoe here is 3 months old and she has been a big part in all of my workouts. And so I'm going to share how I am setting her up to keep her relatively entertained. And not every workout is great for us. Sometimes my workouts do need to get cut short. So hopefully today is a good day and we do get the full workout in. She does seem like she's in a pretty good mood. But know that not every workout is as smooth for me as others. And so fingers crossed that today is that smooth day. The first thing that I'm doing when I'm working out with my baby is I'm gonna set up a space for her to help kind of entertain her. And I like to have a variety of different surfaces to put her on to entertain her because she's not super into toys right now. Eventually, in like a few months, she will be more into toys and that'll definitely expand our entertainment field. But first, I'm gonna have a tummy time mat for her, either a play gym or just a blanket down on the floor. This is a mat that's about 1 inch thick, so it's still firm, but it's super soft to put on hard surfaces like the gym floor. Yeah. And so this is great to put her down onto for a tummy time, just for being on her back. And I'll even, because it's big enough, I'll even do like my core exercises and floor-based exercises down on the floor with her because she really gets super entertained when I'm like directly next to her. I also have a baby swing available for her in case she does need a change in surface. And so it will kind of move around, which can be really nice. And then as she starts to get a little bit more head control and more core control and she can maintain an upright position such as a seat, we do have a walker that we use here at the gym. I will say with walkers, you do want to make sure that there's no stairs or any sort of elevated surface that baby can fall off onto because that can be a big hazard with those. We just have a big open gym space here and we monitor the babies when they're in them. And so that can be an option for you depending on your space availability to bring baby into more upright position, which can sometimes really help to entertain them. And we also have a stationary play gym that has a little seat in it with like a piano down on the floor that is also really entertaining for babies as well. So there is a lot of stigma that comes with using containers with the concern that it may affect your baby's physical development, but it's important to note that we're not using these containers all day. They're just a tool that we're utilizing to help entertain our baby so that we can make it through our workouts. So Zoe is essentially in this swing for maybe 30 minutes at most, once a day while I'm doing my workouts, but typically she's mostly down on the floor. And so if you are using a container to help you cook dinner, to get your workout in, to just do things that you need to do throughout your life, and it's helping to entertain your baby, which is probably really helpful for your mental health, I always say that they're totally great to use because they're a tool that is available to you. Now, we do want to not have our baby in the container all the time though, so incorporating some tummy time play or play on the floor can be really helpful for the development. And I also have a baby carrier on standby in case she does just want to be held during the workout, so I still have my hands free. And so if I do need to transition to that, I will show you some baby wearing modifications as well. So some things to do before you jump into your workout is to make sure that baby is well fed. So maybe they'll fall asleep in the middle of your workout. So I always like to wear a nursing bra because it makes it a lot easier to nurse baby during my workouts and either before or directly after to help kind of soothe them. And so before we dive into the core warm-up, I'm gonna nurse Miss Zoe here, and then we're gonna get into getting some gains. All of our workouts start with some core stabilization work, and so I'm starting with the dead bug. I'm enhancing it by placing a mini band around my feet, and then I'm gonna exhale to extend and inhale to come back up. With all these core stabilization exercises, I'm maintaining my torso position as my arms and legs move. And I'm also integrating my breath to help maintain my torso position, to manage pressure within my abdominal cavity, and also to begin to move and strengthen my pelvic floor. Now I can make this movement easier by removing the mini band from around my feet. I can make this movement harder by alternating sides instead of doing all of the same side. Doing the same side can help increase stabilization and make movements a little bit easier as opposed to having to shift from side to side. And then I can also incorporate some weights with these movements as well. All of our core warm-up is designed to help improve your core stabilization in addition to help integrate that breath to movement that is really important to maintaining pressure within our abdominal cavity. So essentially to help protect our pelvic floor, to help protect our core as we're healing postpartum and helping us to reintegrate how we are moving and managing symptoms postpartum. So there's no exercises that are necessarily like bad or that you can't do. We just want to make sure that we're doing exercises that are within our capabilities, that we don't have any symptoms. So I'm not experiencing coning, any sort of downward pressure. Hi. I'm not experiencing any sort of pain. If you're experiencing any sort of discomfort or symptoms, then we may need to modify the movement. Yeah. With our core warm-up, we start on our backs in that dead bug, and we progress towards our side, and then we come to a tabletop position. So we're challenging the core in 3 different planes with different types of gravity challenge. Yeah. Yeah. And then the bird dog is essentially the dead bug flipped around, and we have a little bit more demand from gravity. So gravity is pulling against my belly, trying to make me arch in my back, and so my core has to work a little bit harder to maintain its position. So I want to avoid arching as I do my bird dogs. Yeah. Yeah. And that concludes the core stabilization workout where we're focusing on connecting our breath to movement. So as my arms and legs do things, as I extend and change my position, I'm utilizing my breath to help manage and maintain pressure within the abdominal cavity to help protect my pelvic floor and my core, and also to help increase the strengthening that we're going to be having. In addition, I'm focusing on that core stabilization, so maintaining my torso position as my arms and legs do things, which is gonna be really important for all the lifts that I'm about to do. So let's go ahead and get into the strength portion of our workout, potentially needing to pause at any point to tend to Miss Zoe, but we'll see how it goes. So before we dive into my strength workout, I do want to share how I'm keeping my gym space safe for my kids. And so this is our public gym here at Mama Stay Fit. We're located in Aberdeen, North Carolina. So families come and work out here. And I also have a similar setup at my house in my home gym. So the first thing that we want to think about is what weights could our kids possibly pull onto themselves? And they may pull weights off of the weight tree. And so we have these clamps here on the weight tree that's going to prevent them from pulling it off. Eventually they could pull the weight off, but we can usually see them before they do totally. And so this is going to help keep them safe. The other thing that we're going to do is all of our power racks have safety straps on them. And so anytime somebody is squatting or even doing weight overhead, they're going to do it inside the power rack so that if they have to bail for whatever reason, it's going to hit the safety straps and not the floor and potentially roll onto a kid. And we're also very mindful of where we leave the babies if they are on the floor, that they're not near the power racks or anywhere where a weight may fall onto them. And the kids are also not running around the power rack as we are lifting at that same time. And so some of this stuff is going to be teaching your child how to be in the gym space safely, and then also setting it up so that they're not going to be able to hurt themselves as well. We also have our barbells properly stored, so it's going to be hard for a kid to pull them onto themselves. So putting them like in a corner or a place where they can pull it can be potentially dangerous. So we have the barbells stored in this storage rack right here that's going to make it really hard for a kid to pull it onto themselves. In addition, our kettlebells we find are easier to pull off of the shelf. And so we do have it surrounded by a baby gate. Again, a kid could eventually figure out how to climb into this, but usually we can see them starting to do that before they do get into it. But we have all of our kettlebells in this space because those are easier to pull off. And then we do have our treadmill surrounded by a baby gate as well to prevent any kids from touching it while somebody is working on it or even getting onto it. So we have an air runner here, but if you do have a treadmill at home, just making sure that there's no way for your kid to get behind you or to touch it while you're on it is going to be really important for their safety. And then as I do my workout, I'll kind of discuss some points and things that I'm doing during my workout to help make sure that my baby and my kids are safe during my workout. So Miss Zoe is all set up on her tummy time mat. She will hopefully stay there for a good portion of the workout, but we will see. And then I have my space all set up for my squat. So you can see that she's a good distance away from the power rack. I don't anticipate that I would need to bail or that anything will happen, but it's still plenty of space to keep her safe. So with my lift, I'm still doing box squats. Next week, I'm going to progress to no box with the squats, just to give me a little bit of support at the bottom of the movement and to help decrease my range of motion just a little bit as I begin to work out with a barbell. So this is my second week now using the barbell. For the first 6 weeks of the program, I was primarily using dumbbells and increasing the weight as I was going. And so now I'm with the barbell, but I still want to be progressing to it as opposed to jumping as doing as much weight as I possibly can. So this is the way that we begin to progress, introducing barbell work to our workouts. All of our strength workouts are paired with some sort of accessory work, typically some sort of single leg, single arm stabilization exercise. And so with my squats, I'm pairing these lateral step ups that I'm focusing on finding internal to external hip and pelvic rotation to increase the length of my glute a little bit more. And so as opposed to just stepping up side to side where my hips stay forward, I'm gonna add a little bit of rotation, which is gonna increase the length of my glute and make it a lot stronger and help to improve my pelvic floor function. And so Miss Zoe was not loving the floor and she's wanting to be held now. So she's gonna be my weight. She weighs about, I think her last thing was like 15 or something pounds. So that counts. That's resistance. After my step ups, I'm gonna move into some lateral hip shifts. We'll see if Miss Zoe will let me use her as my weight. So with the hip shifts, I'm just shifting my pelvis towards that standing femur. Yeah. To bring some length to the back half of my pelvic floor. So muscles are not strong based on how tight they are. So sometimes you may be told like, do all the Kegels to strengthen your pelvic floor. Our muscles move through a full range of motion where it needs to lengthen, come to rest, and then also shorten. And so if the only type of movement that we do is the shortening portion, that muscle is not going to be strong. It's just gonna be tight, and tight does not equal strength. And so with these two movements, and a lot of the movements that we do within our programming, We're focusing on finding length in the muscle to then shorten it. So we're moving it through a longer range of motion because strength is defined by how well that muscle can move over a distance. So with these step-ups, I'm finding length in my glute here at the bottom, so it's longer. I'm standing up to shorten it, and then I'm finding length again. It would be similar to like doing a squat where I only came down like a quarter of the way versus a squat where I came down all the way to parallel. Like that increased length is going to strengthen my legs a lot more than the little quarter squat. Oops. Oops. So babies also spit up a lot. After the step-ups, I have some lateral band walks to help strengthen the outer glute musculature. So this is gonna focus a little bit more, bless you, on that external rotation. I like to do them directly in front of my baby so that she can just kind of stare at me, and usually it makes her pretty excited. I think after this round, we're gonna transition to the baby swing because I think she needs a change of scenery. Yeah. Yeah. Go here. But if she wants me to hold her, I'll just pick her up and I'll do the lateral band walks with her in my arms. Make them lateral weighted band walks. So working out with your baby is about patience and understanding that your workouts are not going to look the same as they did pre-pregnancy or pre-kids. And that's okay. I'm really focused on just training to meet the demands of motherhood, to feel good in my body, to not feel any symptoms or pain. And I want to be able to keep up with these kids for years to come because I want to be able to get up and off the floor without being in pain. I want to be able to chase them and do all of the things with them, to do all of the things with my grandchildren if I have any. And so that's what my workouts are really focused on right now. I'm not training for the CrossFit Games. And so it's okay if my workouts look a little bit different than they did before. All right, let's get this girl into the baby swing and see if that helps. I like these baby swings that have the ability to do lots of different positions as opposed to just side to side. I feel like it helps entertain them a little bit more. And I also like to put it on max speed. So this one's nice because it kind of goes forward and backwards and side to side and all sorts of different wave-like things. This one's for Mom Cozy, but I also have a Mamaroo one at home that I like as well. But I prefer this type of brand. I feel like it entertains them a little bit better than just the swinging side to side ones, but whatever you have in your house works as well. And she also is starting to get into things that she can look at. So this little elephant is just killing it for her right now. Yeah. I always buckle my babies into the swings because even if they're not super movie yet, their siblings sometimes try to get all up in them. And so I just I buckle them up for their own safety. So let's continue with my workout. After my squats, I'm gonna progress to my deadlifts. So Zoe's in the swing now. She's loving her time over there. She will probably enjoy it for the next, who knows how long. I don't wanna jinx myself though. So let's get with my deadlifts. My deadlifts are elevated right now just because we're decreasing that range of motion. And next week, I'm gonna progress down to the floor. Accessory work is gonna be single leg deadlifts. So again, I'm doing a single leg stabilization exercise to complement the strength movement that I just did. Our workouts tend to be a little bit more hamstring, posterior chain heavy, because during pregnancy, we tend to have a little bit more length happening to the hamstrings, which attached to our pelvis can really impact our pelvic floor function. And so we incorporate a lot of strengthening of the hamstrings to kind of counter all of the shifts that happen during pregnancy. And then I'm gonna finish this round with some walking hip shifts. So with a hip shift, again, I'm finding that closed hip position or that internal pelvic to hip rotation. So I'm focusing on how my pelvis rotates on my femur. And so when I find this closed hip position, I have more of a stretch happening here in the glute. So it's lengthening that back half of the pelvic floor and the glute musculature, which for a lot of us tends to be a little bit tighter. So you may have heard of like mom butt being because you're tucking your butt underneath a lot, but I actually think it's because we're clenching our glutes so much and it's pushing us into more an extended spine position. And so these hip shifts can be really great to stretching that glute and the pelvic floor to help them let go so we can find that strengthening to build that glute musculature if you do want to make it larger and more round for aesthetics, but mostly to help with function. So I've got 2 more rounds of the deadlifts, hamstring exercises, and hip shifts, and then I'm gonna move on to my conditioning. For my conditioning, I have 60 seconds of running, followed by 3 other exercises. And so what I'm really excited by is I'm able to run without any sort of pelvic floor issues or symptoms, no heaviness, no leaking, no pelvic pain. And I know it's because of all of the efforts for the past 7 weeks of rebuilding after birth. So I am 13 weeks postpartum. I didn't start workouts until I was about 4 or 5 weeks postpartum. So I don't want you to think that I've been doing workouts like this since birth. So this workout consists of a few different types of core exercises. Oh no! Pause on the workout. Pause on the workout. Hey girl. So sometimes I have to stop my workouts, and it's okay. It's okay to come hang out with you. You've been super patient. Do you want to come on the floor? Yeah?
Yeah, you want to stay here for a little? You want to stay here?
So sometimes I do have to completely stop my workouts for her, and I just try to keep in mind that it's a phase. It's not going to be forever. I'm not going to have my workouts stop constantly for a little baby. Eventually my workouts are going to adjust because I got a little toddler. So after the bear position, I'm going to move into a rotational exercise. So the bear position was an anti-movement. So I was resisting extension, I was resisting lateral flexion. And so I was focusing on maintaining my core's position. This split squat march is a rotational core exercise that's also strengthening my inner thigh musculature, so it's challenging my core in a different way. The final movement is gonna be a floor to shoulder movement. So essentially doing some sort of clean, which is gonna be my hip extension movement. So I have the anti, the rotation, and the hip extension to help strengthen my core in a functional way, because doing crunches and sit-ups maybe help you have like a six-pack abs, or it's focusing on this specific area, but our abs are way more than just the six packs or the rectus muscles. We want the entire core from like neck to pelvic floor to be well integrated, to be able to operate and move well. And so doing movements where we resist movement, where we rotate with movement, and then also extend at the hip with movement is going to be really helpful developing a functional core. Yeah. So I have 2 more rounds of my conditioning to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Hopefully Miss Zoe is content in her baby swing. If not, I'll put her back on the floor, or we'll pause to have a nursing session. It's time for our mobility. So at the end of all our workouts, we do have some optional mobility that you can do if you feel like you want to stretch out a little bit, because these babies are cute, but my back hurts. So I like to do more dynamic hip and thoracic mobility work to help kind of loosen up after the workout. Sometimes you may perform more static stretches, so we incorporate a few different options within our programming of what you may enjoy doing. I've been a huge fan of this 90-90 side camel since pregnancy, and so I'm still super into it now. So this movement has the external and internal hip rotation, so we're stretching the hips, improving that mobility. We also have this lateral thoracic mobility, so side body opening. And then when I come up, I have more of a hip flexor, kind of like this full body lengthening that's happening. And so the two of them together feel pretty awesome. You can also do some like windshields. Yeah, you copying me? And so today was definitely a more chill workout for us. I usually try to time my workouts for times that I know Zoe is in a pretty good mood. So usually she's really happy early in the morning after we first wake up. So trying to get my workout in around when we wake up before her first nap seems to be a really good time for us. When I try to work out later in the day, she tends to be a little bit more fussy with me. So sometimes just timing when you can do your workouts can be super beneficial. And then also knowing you don't have to do an hour-long workout. Like I normally can get about like a 45-minute to an hour-long workout in. Oh, hey girl. Not always though. Sometimes I can get about 20 minutes before Miss Zoe or my other kids or other demands in my life tell me that I need to pause. So I hope you enjoyed this peek into what my postpartum workouts look like and a little bit of an explanation of how we have designed our workouts to help you feel strong in motherhood, to help you recover from pregnancy, to help you heal from birth. So if you want to check out our postpartum fitness programs, you can check them out on our website at mamasayfit.com/fitness-programs. And you can use code YouTube10 to get 10% off any of our online offerings, both for pregnancy and for the postpartum. We have a few different options with our postpartum programs. We have our full-length workouts, which is going to be our 16-week programs. This is the one that I'm currently doing with the 16-week program. We have a few different sport options as well, depending on your fitness goals. And so we just have our general strength and conditioning program, which is the return to fitness, which is what I am doing. We also have our Olympic weightlifting program if you're wanting to get back to Olympic weights such as the snatch and the clean and jerk, or you're trying to get back to CrossFit. We have our return to running program if you're looking for some strength and running focus with the conditioning workouts. And then we have our return to duty program, which is going to be for our active duty service members in addition to our first responders. So that one is going to be our most challenging program, and because it is targeted towards our military population, which both Roxanne and I are veterans, we do always have that program discounted 20% off as a thank you. With our 16-week programs, the first 6 weeks of the programs come with full-length workout videos for you to follow along with as you work out at the same time, in addition to the self-paced workouts in the Team Builder app. So all of our 16-week programs start with the same 6 weeks to help you return to foundations, and then they change at week 7 to be sport-specific. If you're looking for shorter workouts, like you know that you only have time for 15 or 20 minutes, we do have the first 6 weeks of our 16-week program spread out over 72 workouts. So it's going to be each of the workouts divided into 3 parts, and those all come with the full-length workout videos as well, split up into 3 parts as well. So depending on what you're looking for, if you want longer workouts and you have some sport-specific goals, check out our 16-week program. If you're just looking for short workouts, just something that you can squeeze in throughout your day, you also want to follow a video at the same time, our 12-week program or our mini postpartum program is going to be a great option for you. So again, you can use code YouTube10 to get 10% off any of our online offerings. And then know that motherhood is an amazing journey, but it can be really challenging. And so if your workout was not as smooth as this one magically was for me today, it's okay. Not all of my workouts are this easy, quote unquote. Like I did have to pause a few times to tend to her, but I also didn't want to record a video where she was just crying the whole time. So this is the happy medium for us. So again, if your workout wasn't as smooth, there's a little bit more hiccups to it, know that it's okay. This is a phase. Different phases are easier and harder with our babies. But again, we're just training for motherhood so that we can meet the demands of this phase of life.